Welcome, ZASLOW Show 2.0. It is a Tuesday, the 21st of February. Good to have you aboard. We are a Blue Wire podcast. We got a lot going on here today. We're still in the middle of the NBA All-Star break. The Panthers are playing a playoff-type atmosphere games now, trying to clinch a wild card spot. You got NFL news going on out there. There's a lot happening here. Glad to have you aboard. However you listen to the program, make sure you like, you rate, you comment. You do all that good stuff. That's important for the algorithm. I don't know how the algorithm works, but I know that if you do all that stuff, the algorithm then helps me get the monies. So make sure you do all of that. You can always hit me up at ZASLOW Show on Twitter. You can hit me up at ZASLOWJ on Instagram, where I'm an influencer. Went to the Panthers game yesterday afternoon. We'll talk about that. Ruthie Polinsky, formerly, I gotta stop myself. Ruthie Polinsky, formerly our pal from NBC6. She is going to join us. We'll talk to her about leaving NBC6. We'll do a little, she was at the Vic Fangio. Everyone going crazy about Vic Fangio, the Dolphin fan. They love it. Well, Ruthie was at the Vic Fangio introductory press conference yesterday, so we'll talk to her a little bit about that. She was over there. I was at the Panther game, all right? So we'll talk to Ruthie coming up, and we'll get to the bottom of, her choice leaving NBC6. So we'll get her on the program, and we'll talk a little bit about that. We do have to update here our poll question, all right? ZASLOW Show 2.0 poll question from yesterday. It was a super controversial poll question. The Heat, they signed Kevin Love. It is official. You saw the Heat Twitter account. They put out the tweets there, pen to paper. You saw him. He was getting in a sesh in the practice facility. I think it's a great signing. I told you when he was going to be released that the Heat should be the team that goes after him, and I think that he's going to wind up signing with the Heat. Well, there you go. The Heat also signed Cody Zeller yesterday, so all of a sudden, a team that was small, and with the impending return of Omer Yurtseven, the Heat have gotten pretty big now. You got some big bodies now. Now you're going to start Kevin Love, who's 6'9", 6'10". I hope that they're going to start him. Like, if you want to keep going Caleb Martin for a couple days, we all know where this is headed. Kevin Love should be starting next to Bam Adebayo. We've been waiting for a player who could fit next to Bam, and this guy's skill set, he's not what he was, not even close to what he was, but this guy's skill set fits perfectly next to Bam Adebayo. It doesn't make sense for him not to start. They got a couple of practice days. I think the players report back tomorrow, so they got a couple practice days before the game on Friday. The timing is good, all right, for him to be placed in the starting lineup next to Bam. Caleb, now, this is what deals with our poll question, right? Very controversial poll question yesterday, ZASLOW Show 2.0, and we got the final results. The poll question was, what should the Heat starting five look like? Butler, Bam, Hero, and then your choices were Strus and Martin, which is what it is now, Strus and Love, Lowry, and Love, Martin and Love. So those were your choices. The winner with 39% of the vote, Lowry and Love. I don't agree. I think it should be Strus and Love. Strus and Love got 36% of the vote. Martin and Love, so just moving Martin to the guard spot where instead of being an undersized forward, he would be a big guard. Martin and Love got 18% of the vote, and Strus and Martin got, what it is right now, got 7% of the vote. Now, I should say, I kind of made a mistake. I should have switched Martin and Love with Vincent and Love. I had a bunch of people who messaged me, I want Gabe Vincent in the starting lineup. And if that was one of the choices, that's probably where I would have went. So since it wasn't, and I screwed up, I would have went Strus and Love, but otherwise, I should have gone Vincent and Love. I don't think that's going to be the case. I hope it is. I hope we wind up doing that. I think they should bring if they bring Lowry off the bench, I don't know if you could have both Lowry and Vincent coming off the bench. Then you're a little bit too small with that group. Lowry, Vincent, Oladipo, you're a little bit too small with that group. So if Lowry is to come off the bench, they should start Vincent. And then your reserves, you got Lowry, Oladipo, Strus, Martin. That's 9 deep there. And you could also have a big guy. It could be Yurtsevin. It could be Zeller coming in for a few minutes. But that's what it should. And, it leaves Duncan Robinson the odd man out, which, most people are probably fine with. I would like Duncan to play a little bit. I think Duncan still's got something to offer. This Heat team is the worst three-point shooting team in the league. Obviously, Robinson would help in that regard. But that's the way. So I screwed up the poll a little bit. Good job out of you guys who reached out to me and told me it should be Gabe there. You're right. If the coach is going to bring Lowry off the bench, which he should, he absolutely should. Now, it's not just like, oh, why doesn't he do that? There's a lot of things to consider. Lowry's attitude, which definitely sucks. Does Jimmy get upset that it's his friend and his friend's now coming off the bench? There are a bunch of dynamics at play that we don't necessarily see, we don't necessarily know about. Excuse me. But if that stuff can be worked out, my starting five for the year, I got Vincent, Hero, Butler, Love, Bam. Off the bench, unfortunately, Lowry's going to have to play. Lowry, Oladipo, Strus, Martin, and a big man. That's 10 deep right there. The big man, I hope, is Yurtsevin. But if he's not quite ready, then you're talking Zeller. So those are your 10 guys right there. Unless I'm somehow forgetting somebody, I don't think I am. Those are your 10 guys. The Heat's roster is at 15 now for the first time this season. And like I said, they're back in action on Friday night. They're taking on Milwaukee. They're a half game back in number 6, New York right now. So yesterday afternoon, we're going to get Ruthie on here. We're going to talk to her. We'll touch on a bunch of things with her. The Panthers yesterday, the Panthers get a game they had to have. The Panthers were at home. I woke up yesterday morning, and I did the show. Hey, it was President's Day yesterday. If you were out of your normal routine, so you didn't listen to ZASLOW Show 2.0 yesterday, it was President's Day at work. I had to honor the presidents. You got to honor the presidents. So ZASLOW Show 2.0 yesterday. We did a show on President's Day. You can go back and listen to that however you listen to your podcasts, all right? And like I said, make sure you like, you rate, you comment, you do all that good stuff. And after right before I started the show yesterday, I was like, Panthers are playing at 1 o'clock. I didn't know it was a home game. And I didn't think they were in Anaheim, but I didn't know who they were playing, and I didn't know it was a home game. I knew they were playing at 1. And I said, oh, they're home. Let's go to the game. And great crowd. And you were able to find tickets very affordable because, it's a Monday afternoon. Anyway, so I took both boys to the game. The 3 of us went. And the Panthers get down 2-0. This is a game that the Panthers have to have. And all these games are super huge now. And Anaheim sucks. They're literally the worst team in the league. They have the fewest points in the entire National Hockey League. And the Panthers go into the game 1 point back of both wildcard teams, which is Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders. And Pittsburgh and the New York Islanders play in the evening. So we already said yesterday, we're hoping that the Islanders win. A 3-point game is the worst case scenario. You need an Islanders regulation win because the Penguins have so many games in hand. And the Panthers and Islanders play the same amount of games. So you want the Islanders to win there and the Panthers to win. If the Panthers win, they'll be in first place for a few. They'll have the first wild card spot for a few hours. And if one of the teams wins in regulation, you want it to be the Islanders, then you'll finish the day with the number 2 wild card spot. So the Panthers, how do they respond? They get down 2-0. They're down 2-0 at the end of the first period to the lowly Anaheim Ducks. Then you get Eric Staal. He scores his 11th goal of the year. The Panthers make it 2-1. And then you got his brother, Mark Staal, who gets just his 2nd goal of the season.
Nagy has it. Tries to get started. Losterinen centering feed. Staal. Kachuk for Staal. They got it! Mark Staal off the rush. His 2nd of the season, and we're tied.
Oh, that's pretty to watch right there. Well, Eric got one. Now the brother Mark, he wanted to get in on the action.
Mark Stahl's 2nd goal of the year. I think it's his 2nd goal in the last 3 games, right? So you got Eric Staal who gets the first goal. Mark Staal gets the 2nd goal. It's the first time this year that that's happened. Eric with 11 goals on the year now. Mark with 2 goals on the year now. So now it seems like the Panthers are rolling, and they're crushing the Ducks in shots on goal. Just crushing them. Ducks take the lead 3-2. Dmitry Kulikov. By the way, Frank Vetrano, former Panther, is with the Ducks. The Panthers did a nice little video tribute for him. You know how I feel about the video tributes. I think they're so unnecessary. But the Panthers do a nice little video tribute for Frank Vetrano. That was after it was 1-0 Ducks. And on the next shift, Vetrano scored. Made it 2-0. Screw you, Vetrano. So, Panthers, though, they tie it 2-2. We're 2-2 at the end of 2 periods. Another former Panther, Dmitry Kulikov, gives Anaheim the lead with just over 7 minutes remaining. The Panthers are looking like they're in trouble. They would get the tying goal.
Drags it out in front. Couldn't get the shot on goal. Ekblad retrieves. Forsling fire score. Deflected in. The Lamborghini got loose in front. The Panthers have tied it at 3 in the third.
Hang on to your hairnet, Helen. Panthers keep storming back. Working the puck around the outside. There's Ekblad, gets stripped, and then quickly get it back to the point. Look at the one-timer right there, and Lomberg with the perfect timing off of the Forsling shot. Knuckleball. There's the redirection off the boot, the leg of Lomberg, and tumbles into the net.
Hell yeah, desperately needed goal there. Lomberg gets his 8th of the year. How about the 3 goal scorers for the Panthers? Eric Stahl, Mark Stahl, Ryan Lomberg. So we wind up getting to overtime. The Panthers get a point there. That's important. But we need the second point. So you got the 3-on-3 overtime, which is always fun. Carter Verhaeghe, 30th goal of the year, ends it.
Trying to get down the boards. Kachuk knocked it free. Lead pass for Verhaeghe. On the breakaway in overtime. Verhaeghe shoots. Let's go home, baby! Carter Verhaeghe, his 30th of the year. And the Panthers come from behind and win it in overtime.
Hell yeah, Loisterinen and Kachuk with the assist. Verhaeghe with the breakaway. First 30-goal season of his career. Carter Verhaeghe wins it for the Panthers. And for the afternoon, they had the number 1 wildcard spot for the first time this year. They finally climbed all the way to the number 1 spot there. So, great job. Great comeback win there for the Panthers. A game they had to have because the Ducks suck. Let's hear from Carter Verhaeghe in the Panthers dressing room after the game.
Yeah, I mean, Chucky and Lucy made great plays. Break up the play and got me the puck on a breakaway. So, just kind of locked out and just tried to shoot and score. So,
what does it mean to just now, like I said, you're starting off a big stretch at home here. The playoff push is really heating up to start with 2 points now here and I to sit on this one for a couple days till Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. I mean, we need some momentum coming into our homestand, and especially we don't want to go down 2 in a row. And I mean, it was awesome to get the win. So.
And we talked about it a couple days ago, but now we're actually here. 30-goal scorer Carter Verhaeghe. Just how cool is that for yourself?
Yeah, I thought you might have jinxed it, but no, it was good. I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool accomplishment. But I mean, it's a big win, and it's nice to do it in a win.
So the Panthers were first place for a few hours. Then we're keeping an eye on Penguins and Islanders. No 3-point game. Don't need a 3-point game. The Islanders win at 4-2. We get the result we wanted there. So the Islanders now 65 points. Panthers 64 points. Those are your first and second wild card teams. On the outside looking in, Pittsburgh 1 point back of the Panthers. But Pittsburgh, again, this is why we wanted the Islanders to win last night. The Penguins have 4 games in hand on both the Panthers and Islanders. Panthers and Islanders have both played 60 games. They have 22 remaining. The Penguins have 4 games in hand on both teams. That's really important. So, Panthers, all right. The NHL regular season's great anyway. But the only positive in the Panthers having such a shit first half of the season, every one of these games feels like playoff games. We got big-time Panther games every time they're on the ice. It's the only positive. So yesterday was a huge win, even though it comes against the stupid Anaheim Ducks. It's looking like Friday, the Panthers are hosting the Buffalo Sabres. The Sabres are one of those teams fighting for one of those wild card spots. They're 4 points back of the Panthers. Huge game, again, on Friday night. And it's looking like Anthony Duclair is going to make his season debut. That's huge. He's a 30-goal scorer. So Duclair should give this team a bit of a jolt. You remember we talked to George Richards, Florida Hockey Now, the other day. I was asking, hey, where do we think that Duclair will be inserted? Is he a third-line guy at this point? You got to figure second or third line, but this is a guy who's got speed. He's a finesse player, but a 30-goal scorer. He's going to help, and he's going to be fresh. He's going to help in a very big way. So it seems things are headed in the right direction at the right time, at the desperate time for the Florida Panthers. Let's see, do we have Pittsburgh or the Islanders in action tonight? This is important. We got to check that out. Pittsburgh or New York. Islanders are not in action tonight. You are not the father. Penguins or Islanders. There you have it. So tonight, we're off as far as that watch is concerned. The Capitals, though, the Capitals have 62. They're 2 points back of the Panthers. Are the Capitals in action tonight? Yes. The Capitals are hosting the Red Wings. So that's something to keep an eye on tonight if you're interested in that. The Capitals can pull within a tie for the second wildcard spot with the Panthers. And the Capitals have 2 games in hand. So this is important tonight. If the Capitals can lose, that's a big one for the Panthers. They lose one of those games in hand, and the Panthers remain ahead of them. I hope I didn't confuse everyone there. I'm excited that we're headed toward it's a sprint to the finish here, trying to make the playoffs, and maybe things are starting to break the right way for your favorite little hockey team. I don't know. We'll see. Hey, I got to tell you guys about Doctors on Call 365. You know they're one of I love all my sponsors. Doctors on Call 365, South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. That's right. If you're not feeling well, if you got a fever, maybe you need your prescription filled or refilled, don't go to the emergency room and sit there for hours. Don't call up your local doctor if you need to be seen right away, because they're not going to have an appointment for you for another week or so. Doctors on Call 365, South Florida's urgent care that comes to you. Treating children, adults, elderly. If you need a COVID test, you need a strep test, you need a flu test, you need blood drawn, vitamin therapy, you need x-rays ordered, you need your prescription filled or refilled. Dr. Alon, Doctors on Call 365. They will come to your home, your office, wherever you are. It's so convenient. Now, while it's self-pay, you're going to pay less out of pocket than your copay if you sat in that emergency room for hours. Let Doctors on Call 365 come to you. DoctorsOnCall365.com. Get someone on the phone immediately, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week at 786-577-9302. That's 786-577-9302. So we got some NBA news yesterday. We're at the All-Star break, but the NBA world continues to churn. So you got some news yesterday. We know that Kevin Love and Cody Zeller signed with the Heat. Russell Westbrook has not been bought out from the Utah Jazz yet, but he has come to an agreement with the LA Clippers that after a buyout with Utah, after he presumably clears waivers, that he will then sign with the LA Clippers. So you're looking for a little LA versus Los Angeles, rivalry there. We already know it's a rivalry. Clippers and Lakers. Westbrook goes from one to the other. How about that? UCLA, Lakers, Clippers. I wonder if anyone's ever done that before. It's probably happened, right? UCLA, Lakers, Clippers. It's probably happened. Anyway, Westbrook looks like he's going to be doing that. I was interested in Westbrook, but the Heat clearly wanted I wanted Love first. Love and Westbrook I would have been for. But the fact that the Heat didn't go for Westbrook is one of two things. Number one, they're doing their due diligence, so they must not have thought he was a good fit. The locker room stuff, maybe they believe it to be true, that he's not a good locker room guy these days anymore. Or it's just they think Lowry's going to be back soon, and they're already on the hook for all that money with Lowry. They may as well just stick it out with him and bring in another big man, which they did with Cody Zeller. I want to give a couple minutes here to Myers Leonard. So Myers Leonard signed a 10-day contract with the Milwaukee Bucks yesterday. Myers Leonard, former Heat big man, who was the starting big man in 2020, the year that the Heat made the NBA Finals. He was the starter for most of the year. Matter of fact, the Heat were first place in the Eastern Conference for most of that regular season with Myers Leonard as their starter. Then he fell out of the rotation because he got hurt. He didn't get back in the rotation. Then he got back. He was a starter in the NBA Finals, games 2 and 3. The Heat lost game 1 to the Lakers. They ended up losing game 2 as well, but they won game 3 to get back in that series. So Meyers Leonard was able to get back in the starting group there in the finals and help the team. Meyers Leonard then signed a new 2-year deal, I think it was, after that year. And he would get hurt. And then you had the anti-Semitic slur for folks who, I don't need to say the word. It starts with a K, rhymes with bike. And, he winds up getting banished from the team. Does it on the Twitch stream, which, it's just so stupid. I don't get the video games. Does it on the Twitch stream and essentially gets banished from the NBA. The Heat banish him. They suspend him. Then they trade him. He gets released. Nobody's seen him in 2 years. He's worked his way back from an ankle injury, I believe it is, but also, rehabilitating his image, I suppose. And the Milwaukee Bucks have signed him. They're giving him a chance here, a 10-day contract. I'm happy for Meyers Leonard. I am. And for folks out there who don't understand that, because I am Jewish, and it was a Jewish slur. It's the N-word for Jews, I think the N-word's a lot worse, but it's the N-word for Jews. And for folks who don't understand that, coming from a Jewish person, how I'm being forgiving there, number one, we should all be forgiving, but Meyers, I think if you ask most Jewish people down here who are Heat fans, I feel like they've all forgiven Meyers Leonard. Because if we could be honest here, Meyers Leonard, over the last 2 years, has spent more time in the Jewish community than I have. Like, Meyers Leonard really put his best effort, immediately, by the way. He immediately, I've always maintained, I don't think he knew what the word was. I think he clearly knew that it was a bad word. That's why he said it in the fashion that he did. And he said it in a joking way, but like in a trash-talking video game kind of way. But he said it in a derogatory way. So he knew it was a bad word. I don't think he knew, and I think there's many people out there right now who still don't know what that word is, who have never even heard of that word. I know when it happened that there were plenty of people like, I've never even heard of that word before. It's not a common phrase. It's not a common word. I really don't believe he knew what the word meant. Well, he knew it was bad, but he didn't know what the word meant. And he was super apologetic immediately. And then he spent all this time, and I think continues to spend all this time in the Jewish community. And you know how I feel about this stuff. Like I gave Michael Vick as an example for a while, who went to prison and then, I was always totally okay with Michael Vick getting that second chance after he went to prison, because that's essentially what prison is supposed to be for. It's supposed to be for, it usually doesn't, but it's supposed to be for rehabilitating. And then you get this second chance and you make your way back into society. And if we're not going to allow people to do that, then what's the point in changing? So, like, Michael Vick did a terrible thing. I love dogs, all right? Michael Vick did a terrible thing, and then he went to prison. And then, you got to allow this guy to be a changed person and get his life back and be a contributing member to society. And so Michael Vick did that. And I'm a fan. I'm not a fan of what he did, but I'm a fan of the guy he's become. And this is the same thing. I've talked about this with Tim Hardaway, where he made the comment about gays. And he felt for a long time that kept him out of the Hall of Fame. I don't agree with that, but if it did keep him out of the Hall of Fame for a little bit, that's not right. He's an advocate now for gay people. He realized the error of his ways and his thoughts. And the same thing here with Meyers Leonard, where if he's going to say something bad or feel a certain way about certain people, and then is told that this is wrong, and you got to learn. And then he learns and he puts forth that effort, and we still don't allow him to get his life back. We don't forgive. Then what's the point? What's the point in, if that's the case, if we were never going to allow Meyers Leonard back into the NBA, if we're just going to banish him forever, why not continue to call Jews that word? Why not continue to fall for all the Jewish tropes and stereotypes if we're not going to forgive this person when they've realized that they were wrong? You gotta let these people back. Otherwise, there's no reason for them to change. There's no reason. You got to allow people to change and learn. And I'm totally for Myers Leonard being back in the NBA. I think it should have happened a while ago, to be honest with you. Maybe it didn't because he's been rehabbing an injury, but I'm totally good with Myers Leonard being back in the NBA. I'm happy for him, good for him. Like I said, I always thought he was a sweet guy. And I think he said something really terrible. I think he said something that he didn't know what it meant. Now he does. And he's spent a lot of time in the Jewish community down here. Like I said, I mean, it's a joke, but it's also true. He has spent more time in the Jewish community than I have these last couple of years. So good for you, Myers Leonard, man. I'm happy for you that you're back in the NBA. I hope he makes the most of it. It's only a 10-day contract, but you can't tell me a 7-footer who could shoot, that guy doesn't belong in the NBA. The hell are we talking about here? So I'm happy for him. Good for him. Hey, I want to tell you guys about Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach. You guys know Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach. That is my spot, not just for any big games. I mean, we got no NFL right now, obviously. The NBA's on break, but maybe you're just trying to walk around on the beach. You want to get yourself some good drinks. You want to get some good food. You want to listen to some great live music. Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach, world's greatest upscale dive bar. They got live music 7 days a week. Matter of fact, starting tonight at 6 p.m., you got live music at the Briny. So maybe you're walking the beach, then you dip on in. Starting at 4 p.m. is the Briny hour. 4 to 7 p.m., that's happy hour every Monday through Friday. Then you got live music starting tonight at 6 p.m., and it's Tuesday. That means it's Taco Tuesday. That means Mahi Taco Specials at the Briny tonight. World's greatest upscale dive bar. Not only Mahi Taco Tuesday specials, but $1 off Casamigos tonight, Patron and Volley Seltzers. And like I said, live music beginning at 6 p.m. Take Atlantic Boulevard all the way to the Atlantic. Don't park in the Atlantic. Park behind the Briny. They will validate your tag. No, do not have to pay for parking when you park behind the Briny. Just take a picture of your license tag. You show it to your server. Boom. You're not going to have to pay for anything. World's greatest upscale dive bar, Briny Irish Pub, Pompano Beach.